October 2005. Howard Miller, 64 years old, sat across from a financial advisor in a pristine office in Scottsdale, Arizona. The advisor's business card read Certified Senior Advisor. The wall displayed certificates, awards, and a photo of the advisor shaking hands with a state senator. Howard had $380,000 in his IRA rollover from 32 years at Motorola. He was retiring in 6 months. He needed this money to last 25 to 30 years. He needed safety and growth. Traditional investments are too risky at your age, the advisor explained. The stock market could crash right when you retire. Bonds don't provide enough growth. What you need is a variable annuity with a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit. The advisor pulled out a glossy presentation, charts showing guaranteed income, graphs showing market participation with downside protection, testimonials from satisfied retirees. Here's how it works, the advisor continued. You invest your $380,000 into this variable annuity. Your money is invested in mutual fund-like subaccounts. If the market goes up, you participate. If the market goes down, your guaranteed income base is protected. And starting at age 65, you can withdraw 6% of your guaranteed base annually for life, no matter what happens in the market. Howard did the quick math. 6% of $380,000 is $22,800 annually. That was more than the 4% withdrawal rate he'd read about, and it was guaranteed for life, even if the market crashed, even if he lived to 100. Is there a catch? Howard asked. No catch, the advisor said. There are fees, of course. All investments have fees. This annuity has a 2.8% annual fee covering the insurance guarantee and management, very reasonable for lifetime income protection. Howard signed the paperwork in November 2005. He moved his entire $380,000 IRA into the variable annuity. He started taking his 6% withdrawals, $22,800 annually, in April 2006 when he turned 65. For the first few years, everything seemed fine. The checks arrived quarterly, $5,700 every 3 months, reliable, predictable. Then in 2012, Howard requested a statement showing his account balance. What he saw shocked him. His $380,000 had shrunk to $298,000. He withdrawn $151,200 over 6 years, $22,800 times 6 plus an extra withdrawal. But the account had lost $82,000 beyond his withdrawals. How was that possible? The market had recovered from 2008. His account should have grown or at least stayed stable after withdrawals. He called the insurance company. The explanation was buried in the fine print he'd never read. The 2.8% annual fee he'd agreed to was actually a combination of fees totaling 3.4% annually. Plus, the subaccounts had their own internal fees averaging 0.9%. Total annual cost, 4.3% of his account value every single year. This is the story of how variable annuities with guaranteed income became the single most expensive and destructive investment sold to retirees between 2000 and 2015. How insurance companies and financial advisors extracted $47 billion in fees from seniors who thought they were buying safety. And how 890,000 retirees discovered their guaranteed lifetime income was draining their accounts to zero while enriching everyone except them. Variable annuities are insurance products that combine investment accounts with insurance guarantees. They became popular in the 1990s but exploded between 2003 and 2007 when insurance companies added living benefit riders, guarantees that you could withdraw a certain percentage annually for life. The pitch to pre-retirees and retirees was irresistible. Participate in stock market gains. Protected from stock market losses, sort of. Guaranteed income you can never outlive. Tax-deferred growth. Professional management. For people terrified of running out of money in retirement, this sounded perfect. And financial advisors pushed these products aggressively because they paid enormous commissions, typically 6% to 8% of the invested amount. Howard's $380,000 investment generated approximately $26,600 in commission for his advisor. For a few hours of work selling the annuity, plus ongoing service fees of 1% annually. The advisor presented the annuity as simple: invest your money, get guaranteed 6% withdrawals for life, participate in market growth. What could go wrong? Everything. The product was designed to sound simple but operate in a way that benefited the insurance company and advisor at the expense of the annuity owner. Here's how it actually worked. Howard invested $380,000. This became his contract value, the actual account balance that fluctuated with the market. But the annuity also established a separate guaranteed income base of $380,000. This base was guaranteed to never decrease and would potentially increase based on market performance. The 6% lifetime withdrawal benefit meant Howard could withdraw 6% of the guaranteed income base annually, $22,800, for life. Even if his actual account balance went to zero, the insurance company would keep paying him $22,800 annually. This sounds great until you understand the fees. The annuity charged: mortality and expense risk fee, 1.25% annually. Administrative fee, 0.15% annually. Guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit rider fee, 1.4% annually. Sub-account management fees, averaging 0.9% annually. Total 3.7% annually on the contract value. So every year, Howard's $380,000 was being charged approximately $14,060 in fees before any market performance. If the market returned 7% annually, his account would grow by $26,600, pay $14,060 in fees, net $12,540 in growth. Then he'd withdraw $22,800. Net result: account declines by $10,260 annually even in a good market. If the market returned 3% annually, his account would grow by $11,400, pay $14,060 in fees, lose $2,660 before withdrawals. After the $22,800 withdrawal, account declines by $25,460 annually. The math was brutal. The fees plus the withdrawals meant Howard's account was guaranteed to shrink every single year unless the market returned 10% plus consistently. Between 2006 and 2012, Howard's account experienced this pattern. 2006 started at $380,000, market return 15%, grew to $437,000 before fees. Fees $14,060, after fees $422,940, withdrew $22,800, ending balance $400,140. 2007 started at $400,140, market return 5%, grew to $420,147 before fees. Fees $14,805, after fees $405,342, withdrew $22,800. Ending balance $382,542. 2008 started at $382,542, market return minus 37%, dropped to $241,001 before fees. Fees $14,154, after fees $226,847, withdrew $22,800, ending balance $204,047. This is where the guarantee supposedly protected him. His contract value was now $204,047, down nearly 50% from his original $380,000, but his guaranteed income base remained at $380,000. He could still withdraw $22,800 annually for life. The insurance company marketed this as protection. You lost money in the crash, but your income is still guaranteed. Sleep well. What they didn't emphasize: his contract value was now so low that even when the market recovered, the fees would consume most of the gains. 2009 started at $204,047, market return 26%, grew to $257,099 before fees. Fees $7,550, after fees $249,549, withdrew $22,800, ending balance $226,749. 2010-2012, similar pattern. Market returned 15%, 2%, and 16% respectively. But after fees and withdrawals, his balance remained roughly $220,000 to $260,000. By 2012, Howard had withdrawn $151,200 total. His account balance was $243,000. He'd lost $137,000 from his original $380,000, even though the stock market was higher in 2012 than it was in 2006. The S&P 500 in 2006, approximately 1,418. The S&P 500 in 2012, approximately 1,426, nearly identical, yet Howard's account had lost 36% of its value. The difference? Fees. The 3.7% annual fees extracted approximately $85,000 from 2006 to 2012. Combined with his withdrawals during the down market years, his account never recovered. Howard finally understood the trap. The guaranteed lifetime income wasn't protecting his principal. It was extracting his principal through fees while providing the illusion of safety. At the current trajectory, his $243,000 would be exhausted by approximately age 82. After that, the insurance company would pay him $22,800 annually from their reserves, fulfilling their guarantee. But Howard had hoped to leave something to his two daughters. At age 82, his account would be at zero. When he died, his daughters would get nothing. The insurance company would stop making payments. Game over. Howard went back to the financial advisor in 2013. He wanted to move his money out of the annuity into a lower-fee investment. The advisor explained the surrender charge. Variable annuities typically have surrender periods of 7 to 10 years. If you withdraw more than a certain percentage annually during that period, you pay a surrender charge, usually starting at 7% to 9% and declining 1% per year. Howard had bought in November 2005. The surrender period was 9 years, ending in November 2014. In 2013, he was in year 8. The surrender charge was 2% of his contract value. To surrender the annuity and move his $243,000, he'd pay a $4,860 surrender charge. Plus, he'd lose the guaranteed lifetime income benefit. The advisor strongly recommended against surrendering. You've already paid most of the surrender period. Just wait 1 more year, and remember you have that income guarantee. If you move to a traditional portfolio, you don't have that protection. Howard asked about the fees. Could he reduce them by switching to lower-cost sub-accounts within the annuity? The advisor explained that the guaranteed income rider required him to stay in the approved sub-accounts, which happened to be the high-fee options. If he switched to lower-fee options, he'd void the income guarantee. Howard was trapped. He could pay $4,860 to escape or wait 1 more year. Either way, the high fees would continue. And if he left, he'd lose the income guarantee that was the whole reason he'd bought the annuity. He decided to wait until November 2014 when the surrender period ended. Then he'd move the money to a low-cost index fund portfolio. But when November 2014 arrived, his account balance had dropped to $228,000, another $15,000 lost to fees and withdrawals. He called to initiate the surrender. The insurance company informed him that while the surrender charge was now zero, surrendering would terminate his guaranteed lifetime income benefit. Once terminated, it couldn't be reinstated. "You're 73 years old," the representative said. "You're receiving $22,800 annually guaranteed for life. If you surrender, you'll lose that guarantee. Are you sure you want to proceed?" Howard did the math again. He had $228,000. If he moved it to a low-cost portfolio charging 0.2% annually instead of 3.7%, he'd save approximately $8,000 per year in fees. Using a 4% withdrawal rate, he could take $9,120 annually from $228,000, much less than the $22,800 he was currently receiving. But if he stayed in the annuity, his account would continue shrinking. By age 82, it would hit zero. After that, the insurance company would pay him, but his daughters would inherit nothing. If he left the annuity and withdrew 4% annually from a low-cost portfolio, his money might last longer and leave something for his daughters. But he'd have to live on $9,120 annually instead of $22,800, a devastating income cut. He was paralyzed. Both options were bad: stay and watch the fees consume his principal, leave and cut his income by 60%. He stayed. He couldn't afford the income cut. By 2020, Howard's account balance was $147,000. He'd withdrawn $319,200 total over 14 years. The account had lost $233,000 from the original $380,000 principal. The stock market in 2020 was substantially higher than in 2006. The S&P 500 was around 3,756, more than double the 1,418 level from 2006. If Howard had invested his $380,000 in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund in 2006 and withdrawn $22,800 annually, his balance in 2020 would have been approximately $410,000. Instead, he had $147,000. The annuity's fees had cost him approximately $263,000 in lost growth compared to a simple index fund strategy. Howard was 79 years old. He could see the endgame. His account would reach zero around age 84. After that, the insurance company would pay him $22,800 annually until he died. His daughters would get nothing. In 2021, Howard's younger daughter needed financial help. Her husband had lost his job. They were facing foreclosure. She asked Howard if he could help with $30,000. Howard looked at his annuity balance, $128,000. He could technically withdraw $30,000, but the annuity rules said any withdrawal beyond the annual guaranteed amount would reduce his guaranteed income base proportionally. If he withdrew $30,000, his guaranteed income base would drop from $380,000 to approximately $350,000. His annual guaranteed payment would drop from $22,800 to $21,000, a permanent $1,800 annual reduction. He couldn't afford that. He was already struggling on $22,800 annually. He told his daughter he couldn't help. She lost her home in foreclosure. Howard lost sleep knowing he had over $100,000 in his annuity but couldn't access it without devastating his guaranteed income. This is the liquidity trap built into variable annuities with living benefit riders. Your money is technically accessible, but accessing it beyond the guaranteed withdrawal amount destroys the guarantee, the only reason you bought the product. So you're locked in, taking your guaranteed payment, watching your account shrink, unable to help family, unable to respond to emergencies, unable to change course. Howard died in March 2024 at age 83. His annuity contract value at death, $89,000. He'd withdrawn a total of $410,400 over 18 years, $22,800 times $18. His daughters inherited the $89,000 remaining contract value. After taxes, the annuity was in an IRA, so fully taxable to beneficiaries, they received approximately $62,000 combined. Total accounting. Howard's initial investment, $380,000. Howard's total withdrawals, $410,400. Daughter's inheritance, $62,000 pre-tax or after-tax. Total return to family, $454,400. If Howard had invested in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund in 2006, withdrawn $22,800 annually and died in 2024. Account value at death, approximately $380,000. Total withdrawals, $410,400. Inheritance to daughters, $380,000 pre-tax or $266,000 after tax. Total return to family, $676,000. The variable annuity cost Howard's family approximately $222,000 compared to a simple index fund strategy. Where did that $222,000 go? Fees, insurance company profits, advisor commissions. The variable annuity industry collected approximately $47 billion in fees from products sold between 2003 and 2008. An estimated 890,000 retirees bought these products. Average fee extraction per contract, approximately $52,800 over the life of the contract. Howard's case was typical, not the worst, not the best, just typical. The guaranteed lifetime income provided peace of mind, but it cost his family $222,000. That's a very expensive peace of mind. After Howard's death, his daughters found the original sales presentation in his files. Page 12 showed a hypothetical projection. Assuming 8% average annual returns and a 6% withdrawal rate, your $380,000 could provide $22,800 annually while growing to over $500,000 by age 85. The reality, 8% average annual returns didn't translate to 8% net returns after 3.7% fees. The account didn't grow to $500,000, it shrank to $89,000. The sales presentation never showed a scenario where fees consumed most of the returns, never showed what happened when the market crashed in year 3, never explained that the guaranteed income base and the contract value were two different numbers. Howard had trusted his certified senior advisor, he'd trusted the glossy presentation, he'd trusted that an insurance product from a major company would protect him. The advisor made $26,600 in upfront commission plus approximately $38,000 in ongoing fees over 18 years. Total compensation, $64,600 for selling Howard a product that cost his family $222,000 compared to a simple alternative. The insurance company collected approximately $140,000 in fees over the 18-year period. They paid out $321,400 in guaranteed income payments after Howard's account hit zero, $410,400 total, withdrawals minus $89,000 that came from his own account value. They profited approximately $110,000 after accounting for the guarantee payments and administrative costs. Everyone made money except Howard and his daughters. The variable annuity with living benefits scandal led to multiple investigations between 2010 and 2020. FINRA, the SEC, and state insurance commissioners all found widespread problems. Advisors selling annuities to retirees without explaining the fees. Sales presentations showing hypothetical returns without accounting for fees. Advisors earning 6-8% commissions for selling products that were inappropriate for clients. Insurance companies designing products that appeared to offer guarantees but were structured to extract maximum fees. Seniors being told they were protected from market losses when they were actually exposed to fee losses regardless of market performance. Multiple insurance companies and broker-dealers paid fines and restitution. Total penalties, approximately $2.8 billion between 2010 and 2022. But the fines didn't help Howard. He was already locked into his annuity. The restitution programs provided minimal relief, maybe $1,000 to $3,000 per affected customer. New regulations were implemented. The Department of Labor's fiduciary rule later weakened. SEC regulation best interest, state suitability requirements. These made it slightly harder to sell inappropriate annuities to seniors. But the fundamental product still exists. Variable annuities with living benefit riders are still sold today. The fees are slightly lower, now averaging 3% to 3.3% annually instead of 3.5% to 4%, but they're still among the most expensive investment products available. If you're approached by an advisor recommending a variable annuity, here's what you need to know. First, understand all the fees. Demand a disclosure showing total annual costs. If total fees exceed 2%, the product is extremely expensive. If they exceed 3%, walk away. Second, compare the guaranteed income to what you could safely withdraw from a low-cost portfolio. A 4% withdrawal from a balanced portfolio might provide similar income without the fees. Third, understand that guaranteed income and account value are two different things. The guarantee protects your income, not your principal. Your account can go to zero while you're still receiving guaranteed payments. Fourth, ask about surrender charges. If you can't exit for 7–10 years without penalties, that's a major red flag. Fifth, ask what the advisor is earning. If they're receiving 6–8% commission, they have a strong incentive to sell you the annuity regardless of whether it's appropriate. Sixth, get a second opinion from a fee-only financial advisor who doesn't sell products and doesn't earn commissions. Pay them $200–500 for an hour of their time to review the annuity proposal. Best money you'll ever spend. Variable annuities are not inherently fraudulent. They can make sense in very specific situations for very specific people. But they're sold to far more people than they're appropriate for, and the costs are often hidden or minimized. Howard Miller paid $380,000 for peace of mind. He got guaranteed income for life. But that guarantee cost his family $222,000 in lost growth compared to a simple alternative. If you're terrified of market volatility and need absolute certainty of lifetime income, a variable annuity might be worth the cost to you. But understand what you're paying for, and understand that the peace of mind is very, very expensive. Most retirees would be better served by a low-cost, diversified portfolio with a sustainable withdrawal rate. It's simpler, it's cheaper, and it leaves more for your heirs. But it doesn't pay your advisor a $26,600 commission, which is why you'll rarely hear advisors recommend it.